Good morning. I am not behind the camera today. You have to excuse me, I have a little bit of a hoarse voice. So I am actually coming to you guys from out in front of my house in my little construction zone. So one thing that a lot of you probably don't know about me unless you know me personally is I'm a huge DIYer. I'm really into like minor construction. I'm not like framing houses, but I've done my share of fences. I've done my share of tile work, knocking down walls. Corey and I, my husband, have redone a lot of houses. So I am actually out here working on our little camper RV because, as I've said on my Facebook group, if you are from around there, you will know that I'm about ready to hit the road for anywhere from like 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks. We're not really sure. Corey is going to come with me out to Arizona, where I will be for the next many, many weeks. And I will be, let me see here. I will be out in Arizona, staying there with my in-laws actually on their property in our RV while I have some medical stuff done, specifically dental stuff. I'm using their dentist, who's a much more kind of in-depth dentist than a normal dentist. And it's going to be kind of extensive. So the plan is for me I'm going to change this whole area like I've changed a lot of other things in here already. And I'll go through those with you. I thought people might find it interesting. And I will be sewing right from this little spot. So let me see if I can like back up. So first of all, not a particularly large camper. Our camper is only like 27 feet interior because it's just the two of us. You can see I've taken a bunch of stuff apart. I'll explain what all this is, but we just have, this little guy, and we bought it last summer. And obviously now that we've lived, with it for a while, I want to make some changes. One of which is this area right here. First of all, this table is really, really high. And so basically when you sit down in any chair, this is like at your shoulder, and I hate it. But it's also really uncomfortable. And that's a huge gap of space there, and it's just taking up a lot of space. And then on the other side, you basically have no room for this chair. And we've moved it over as far as this bracket will allow us to. So I am going to completely rip this out. I'm going to build a built-in storage bench here that opens up from the top, and that'll be an area where I can keep my sewing machine when we're on the road. And then when I take this table out, we're going to put pedestal legs here because right now we're using this bracket, and my machine itself weighs like 40 pounds, the one that I'm going to bring in the RV. And I don't feel comfortable putting that amount of weight plus like the weight of my arms and stuff on this bracket. So for sewing purposes, this thing is going to jiggle everywhere. Just because it's, cantilevering off the slide there. So I'm going to remove this whole thing, put pedestal legs down here in the floor at the appropriate amount of space to slide into the bench, open the bench top, and then, like everything will be much more ergonomical. It won't be centered under the lights, but I don't care. We really don't use those. I did decoratively add that little strip of brass on there. I did that on all of the lights actually in here that are like that, and the ones that are under the bed, right in there. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But we've been adding, that kind of stuff. When you buy one of these things, they don't come with a lot of hooks or anything like that. So like I added this minimal clearance hook in here, and like these little shelves, and just all kinds of stuff that, you add when you have one of these. So today, and what I've been doing for the last few days, is going through and stripping out stuff. These are a window treatment that I removed, and I'll show you why. So this part doesn't have to do with sewing, but this room back here is tiny, tiny, tiny. Like there's not a lot of clearance space. This is my hand in that clearance space. So you can tell not a big area. These previously, ignore my missing trim because I haven't put all that back. These previously were long wardrobes that came all the way down the wall. And when you slept in here, they were like in your face, and it was claustrophobic, and we absolutely hated it. And we never used these wardrobes. There was one on either side, and we hated them. So I spent the last couple of days stripping out the wardrobes. These were the fascias of the wardrobes, and they had a door on them, and I cut them apart, and I still need to fill, all the holes in paint and put the trim back, which I will do. And then the trim on top too. There's a trim piece missing there. You can see that covers up that uneven gap. And then the trim piece up here, obviously. So we just made these cubbies because what we really wanted was a place to stick our shoes, which there isn't here. And we put clothes up here and to store other stuff. This is all storage underneath here. This whole thing lifts up. So I am certain I'll be keeping a whole bunch of my sewing supplies in there too while we're at it. And so that was just one thing I needed to take care of. Today, what I'm going to do is there were window treatments here. And as you can kind of see, maybe this is like my, hand naturally downward is. So you walk right here. I hate the placement of this window, but it's just where it is. This is really, really low. And they had a big old window treatment right here that stuck out like 5 inches. And again, this is not a particularly big space. So I was like, this is stupid. I don't want that. So we're going to move a few things in here. And let me back up. Sorry, it's a really small space. I'm going to mount the window treatment up higher. And I ordered some really thin roller shades. It's the same thing that was here before, but you can see those big boxes that stick out, how far they stick out everywhere else. That was here. And there was also one on this side, like the worst height in the world. So especially over here, we're going to hang the window treatment here and then just pull it all the way down. When it's down, I don't care. We just want the privacy and the light blocking and all of that to sleep. So fixing that. So I stripped it out. I'll have to fill these holes. I'm actually going to paint this whole room, just paint it white. This is a nice like neutral kind of tan color, but it's even when you're in here, it's pretty overwhelming. I would prefer that it be white. And I actually ordered some wallpaper. So I'm going to wallpaper this back wall just back here. And then I'll be getting rid of that black shade too, just to make it a little nicer, a little more open. I might even just take the existing one out and paint it. But it just, I hate having that big black square there. You can just see it, like, it doesn't seem like much, but when you're in a tiny 27 square foot or 27 foot long space, it just sucks up tons of light. And I like the light blocking aspect, but I don't want that big black box. We almost always leave this door open. So like if I'm sitting here looking at that, it's dark. It doesn't match anything on the bed. I'll probably replace those outlets there with light colored ones or paint those, frankly, just to make it a little nicer. The wallpaper that I got is a white with a gray watercolor. So it's leaves, just like various botanical leaves, but it's like a see-through gray watercolor. So it's very subtle, but it'll give it a nice pop of color. Eventually, not now, but eventually I'll probably paint all of this a lighter color too. We'll see. And I might even redo these in a lighter color. That's not really my concern right now. I mostly just wanted to get the bedroom in a much more livable state. I also spent the day yesterday cutting down that box. I cut about 3.5, 4 inches off of it. So we actually offset this bed just a little bit because I always end up just climbing into it directly, whereas Corey walks over on the side. And so I bought him a bit more space by cutting it down. So I did that just to make it more livable because, again, I'll be in this thing for anywhere from shortest 2 weeks, but probably more like 6 to 8 while I have all these different procedures done. And I just wanted to make it a comfortable living space, and I haven't had the opportunity to do that. So other things I'll be doing, which this part has nothing to do with sewing. I bought these. They are a peel and stick tile. They come in a pack. I bought them off Amazon because one sheet of these at Home Depot or Lowe's costs like $40. I was there yesterday. It's just one sheet. And I was like, that's ridiculous. A whole pack of these was like $29 off Amazon. So like, look, I'm all about supporting local stores and things, but not when you guys are going to charge me the same price for one sheet, which were not even as nice as these. That's crazy. So I just wanted to put backsplash here just to cover up, some of these things and make it a little nicer. And also I do splatter on this quite a bit when cooking because it's just so close. I really wanted something that would not stain like this would. So there's that. But as far as this area is going to be my next big spot to tackle once I get everything else, kind of cleaned up. And I'm going to be ripping all of this out. We'll get one new chair on this side. I'll be building the bench on this side. The lid will open up on the bench. And then, like I said, for all of my mobile sewing stuff, the hope is that I'm prepping bag kits for myself. And so what I'll end up doing is keeping all that down there, keeping my sewing machine, my spare thread. I want to do all of the prep work here at home in my studio in the house, right? So I don't want to have to bring a cutting mat because this is my counter space. It's not a lot. This is like really small. I mean, you can see this is like a phone battery, okay? And it's not a very big item, but like that's not a lot of counter space. This is not a good enough space to be able to like rotary cut, and I don't want to bring all that stuff because, again, this space is tiny. So, I mean, I'll be in it alone, but because Corey's gonna, he's gonna drop me off, and then he's gonna come back here at the house and, stay with our dogs and like man the fort while I'm gone. He will be running the store while I'm gone on the website, so anything you guys order will still be fulfilled on time. He might not be as fast as I am. I'm usually fulfilling within 10 to 12 hours. He might be more like 24 hours because he works full time. He's out of the house. He's in the office at his job. So anyway, but I will presumably, if I'm well enough, I don't know, again, that's a very fluid situation depending on what they're going to end up doing to me. But if I'm well enough, the hope is I will be sitting right there coming to you guys, or maybe on that side in the bright sunny window, and we'll just do like some sewing lives together. I will publish a list of the bags that I'm going to do, like the bag kits I have. And then we can do like some live kind of sew along things if you just want to tune in, because I have a feeling I'm going to be really bored, here. Like there's not, I mean, like you're looking at it, right? So outside of doing some dishes and like a little bit of laundry or whatever, there's not a lot for me to do. And having lived in Arizona for 16 years, I can tell you there's not a lot to do there. So it's not like I'll be rushing off, anywhere particularly to like go do anything. So my plan is to hunker down, obviously heal up from all the stuff that's going on, and then do some of those sewing lives. So anyway, yeah, I just thought the last little thing that's happening over here, we first bought this camper. There's like these secure door latches, and you learn pretty quick that you need to do your checklist when you leave, because one of us, we don't know who, could have even been the maintenance people that we took it to. We left this open. It's just a little strap. So funny, they actually use the same style hardware that like we use for stuff. We left the strap undone. This is a rolling pocket door, and the door rolled open while we were going down the road, and it slammed into this whole piece over and over and over and over again. By the time we got to our destination, the bottom of this had literally crumbled into dust. And this here was all busted up. This piece was like hanging off. So I didn't know where to get more of this piece, and I wanted it to still match. It's not going to be perfect, but I had to fill all of this with a product called Plastiwood, which I've used. It works really well when it heals, when it cures, and like skins over and everything. It's really hard. And then you sand it, and you keep kind of just sanding it and filling and sanding and filling, but it's stainable and paintable. So if you ever have any kind of like weird damage like that, it can be really helpful. I've used it to repair a few things that are just kind of odd. And then I used it to fill this and paint it, and I've sanded it a few times, and I'll keep doing that. And I will stain it to hopefully match this pretty close. And so hopefully you won't be able to tell in the end, but you just don't know. That was kind of the best I could do with it, especially A, on a budget, but B, getting these specific trims that are from the RV manufacturer can be really hard. They're not the same as what's in the store. I didn't want to replace all of it. Eventually I might end up painting this. You can see like in here in our bathroom, they put this cute wallpaper already. So I'm hoping like if you look across here, I'll have that cute wallpaper there, and it'll just, kind of look like a headboard and look a lot nicer, get rid of that big black square. And yeah, so that's pretty much the plan. Like I said, the title of this video should tell you it's not really sewing related. I'm out of the studio right now. I leave here with Corey and we leave here in 16 days, just about 15 days. So I have a few days left to get this done, and we don't store our RV here. I'm like literally out in the street, like parked on the side, obviously, but I'm out in the street because we don't have space to like store, so we can only keep it here for a limited amount of days. So we went and grabbed it from storage. I'm like, okay, I need to get working. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So it hasn't been a lot of, I figured I would at least tell you guys like why there hasn't been a lot of sewing content lately. And pretty soon there will be, fingers crossed, as long as I'm able to while I'm gone. So I'm hopeful to really rework. This is actually a really large amount of space. It's almost the same amount of space as where these two recliners are, which is a lot of space. But it's a stupid amount of space. It's a really small table. It's like really flimsy, you can tell. So that's why I'm like, you know what, I'm not comfortable. I want pedestal legs here so I can push down on the table, put my weight of my machine on the table, and it'll be, you know, hopefully way better. So, and then we'll have a better amount of storage there. And again, my hope is when the bench is all done, there is a set of plans, like fully done plans for an RV bench that opens, it sits flush against the wall in the corner. It should fit the space perfectly. So I'm hopeful that if I just buy their plans, I won't have to measure myself because I don't want to do that. And I'm no woodworker either. So anyway, I'm just hopeful that will be good enough to store my machine, all my machine accessories I want to bring, and my limited amount of like 10 to 15 bag kits that I kind of make in there. And again, I'll do all the interfacing, the prep work at home. So it's like I literally just pull the bag out and it should be ready to sew. And then, you know, obviously I'll have a more stable tabletop, and then we'll just have a bit more like clearance because this sucks. It needs to go over like a foot because obviously when you're sitting here, there's like tons of room behind you, but they want you to have that to push the chair in and out. But, you know, they just didn't do a great job. They kind of never do. These things are really speedily mass produced, especially at this price. And so you get a lot of like, nothing is level, nothing is even, nothing kind of matches up, like a lot of, you know, just unfinished work. When we first bought this whole thing was popping off. You can see I kind of glued it back into place to make it as good as possible. But like, there's a lot of gappage, and like we restapled, you know, I've already done a lot of repairs to kind of fix stuff. That's RV life. If like you've never done it, that's a thing to be aware of. So you may not do crazy modifications like this kind of stuff, but you're gonna be doing repairs. Either you messed something up. In fact, like, look, I just saw this. There's a staple just like hanging out of the top of this door. That, you know, that's just buying an RV. Like if you buy really expensive ones that cost the same as a house, they're a lot nicer. Not to say this isn't nice, but you kind of just know about that type of stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to keep cleaning. The plan today, I think, is to put up that tile. And before I mount the new shades and all of that, I'm actually, like I said, going to paint this. I'm just going to paint the whole thing white. Because when you're sitting in this room, to you guys on here, it probably doesn't look so bad. But when there's a little more light and stuff in here, this texture is actually really overwhelming. And then again, typical RV, it's not as apparent on camera, but they just like cut pieces and seamed this, and it's like a totally different color, and it doesn't match up. And then there's a seam right there, and over there in the corners there's like seams and bubbles you guys can probably see. And so, you know, I'm not going to perfect it, I'm not going to sand it, I'm not going to take the time to remove it, I'm not going to get that crazy, but I am going to paint over it because it drives me nuts that it looks dirty to me. So yeah, anyway, that's what's happening in my neck of the woods. So anyway, I hope that you guys have a good week. It's Tuesday, and so I'm trying to wrap this up as soon as possible. What I've started with the recreation over there, the fixing, whatever, the stuff behind me, I want to get this kitchen done. Another thing I am going to do, I don't know when, but sometime, again, they just kind of throw stuff in here. Nothing in this RV is really like super tan. It's grays, but these, I don't know if you can tell, they're yellow. Like they're really yellow, and they don't match. Like everything in here is white and gray and like very cool tones, and then you have this thing that's yellow, and it drives me bonkers. So I'll probably get, I don't know, some kind of something to put here that's just a little, I don't know, prettier. I don't really know. Cleaner, something, I'm not sure. And then I'm hoping this goes up well. I've never used these before. They're literally self-adhesive. They have a protective sheet on the front so you peel this off. So like the bubbling. But they look pretty good, to be honest with you. And I got the ones with the dark grout because I thought that would make a cool change. So I'm going to have to pry this piece off here. Hopefully not break it. It only goes up, you know, so far. And I'll have to remove my little 3M hook here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to remove this, but I might just go around it. I don't know. And yeah, so I'm hoping to get those up. Again, that really has nothing to do with anything. That's just an aesthetic choice. I saw another RV couple use this, and it looked really good when they were done. They did their whole surround all the way over, and it looked so clean. And I was like, ooh, I really like that. And now I splattered soup. There's a bunch of little red soup splatters all over. So I'm kind of like, I don't know about all that. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm just kind of reading your guys' comments real quick. So as an aside, very quickly before I read the comments, this is so funny to me. These towels, once upon a time, I handmade this. I sewed these towels from like scratch. So I created the top. This is a pattern that I specifically created to have like a modern version of like your grandma's old crocheted version of this. It's fully machine washable and, you know, all cotton and whatever on the top, so it's really soft on your hands. And then it's a full towel down here, and I embroidered these. So I used to cut these towels, embroider them, you know, fold them up, use my pattern, which I still have that I created to make these. And I cannot tell you guys, I started making these like, I don't even know, in 2010, 2011, it's forever ago. These were my bread and butter. I used to sell these for like 30 bucks a pop at shows, and I basically made them out of these towels that I used to be able to buy at Target, and this is made out of half of the towel. So out of one towel, which I got in a pack of 3 for like $4 when Target used to sell them, I would buy them out every time in every color. Cut them in half, make 2 towels, make this out of Joann's cotton, whoever's cotton. I use the buttonhole foot on my machine, which was amazing, and I have a billion buttons still. I used to just crank these out, y'all, and I used to sell them like hotcakes. Literally, I couldn't keep them at my craft fairs. They are so popular, and I had one that said like home is where we park it, and it was for campers and all of that. And it cracks me up because we didn't own a camper, but I sold these for like 5-6 years at least, and then I just got tired of them. But they were so popular, and the money in them, because this is a quick design to stitch out, I would just leave these stitching while I would stitch these up in batches, and then literally you just you stick the towel in here, line it up, and top stitch it. And it's hilarious to me now because I sold them for household kitchens, but everybody was like, I need these for my camper. I need it for my camper, my RV. This is perfect. Then I can always have a towel and it doesn't fall off when you travel down the road. So funnily enough, y'all, this is a leftover one from my stock that I just have like had in a box. You know, you get old stock that doesn't sell. And I find it so hilarious because it matches the camper, like the kind of grays and tans and whites in here. And it's like the perfect kind of boho feel. And of course I love coffee, so it's all about coffee for us. That's what it says, instant, nice person, just add coffee. And it just cracks me up because now I have a camper and I was like, oh, I need a towel. So I pulled this one out. It's like the last one I had that didn't sell. And so that makes me laugh every time I see it. So you just never know. Things that you were crafting a long time ago might come in handy even if they didn't sell to somebody else. So anyway, okay, I'll go through and read the comments. That made me laugh, and silly story. Anyway, Kirsten says, it's cute. I want a camper so bad. Yeah. I wasn't sure if camping was for me. I will tell you this right now. We were between 2 campers, this one that's 27-foot interior and one that was 29-foot interior. So only 2 feet bigger inside. It's 2 feet bigger overall, but we didn't get that one. I will tell you right now, bigger is not always better. We learned that because we had friends that bought like 34-footers, 38-footers. They're huge and they're much harder to tow, especially if you're moving around all the time. If you're a full-timer and you're just parking it and you're never going to move it, more power to you. Buy the biggest thing you can. But getting in and out of gas stations all the time, getting in and out when you're traveling with this thing to gas up your vehicle to tow, because we, tow with a truck, obviously, is hard. It's hard. And then depending on some destinations, if you want to go to state parks, you have to stay under, I think it's 35 feet on your camper. It might even be 30 feet. So they're sticklers about it. So if you get a 38-foot camper, like some of the state parks will not let you in if you want to actually camp. And then just maneuvering up and down the road in 38, 34 feet is a lot. But I'll tell you right now, I wish so much that we had bought the 29-foot, the 2-foot bigger one, because what they do in that is you get a slide that pushes out and your bed rotates this way and you get the slide, and then you don't have any of this. You're not sleeping under the slant. All of the wardrobe and all that goes on this wall, and your bed starts like here. So you get a bunch of clearance to walk over here and go, into your wardrobe and stuff over here. So that's the thing that I'm like, oh, I can't deal with that. So, and then for some of you who don't know or just are curious, we bought this because every time we went to a sewing expo or we travel for vacation, but specifically for shows when we're exhibiting, and I'm bringing the hardware around to shows, we were staying in hotels. And I mean, we basically just, I said, look, if the business gets this camper and leases the vehicle, first of all, it's a write-off for business, but also I get to travel with my own bed, which I'm getting older, y'all. I can't handle these hotel beds. They kill me. And then I have to be on my feet for 3 days at a vendor show, sometimes 5 days. And it just kills your back. And so I'm like, I can't be dealing with this. It hurts me. So instead of spending the money on hotels, I just said, let's spend the money on, basically payments toward a camper. And that's more of an investment versus just giving it right over to a hotel. So that's why we did this. We travel enough for work and a little bit for pleasure that it was like, okay, we can handle this. So that's why we opted to do this. And that's also why I was like, let's buy the smallest one that'll work for us. A little hidden thing about this, because we are on the road when we travel for a show. We're on the road sometimes up to 2 weeks. Getting to the place, we've always road tripped, so that's never been any different because we bring the product. And so not only do we road trip, obviously there, but then road trip home. So it's usually about 4 days total in travel time, then 3 days total for the show, 1 day for setup, 1 day for tear down, sometimes if it's an extra day. So right there, you're over a week. And then sometimes we try to stay wherever we're at for a couple of days just to recoup. So minimum, we're on the road for 10 days. A lot of times it's more like 14, not always, but sometimes. So a big thing for us, obviously we wanted some comforts. You want your own bed, you want good storage. And then for us, it was important to get a decent size, tripping on stuff, a shower we could fit in. So that was important for us. There's a wardrobe right there, by the way. So I said I took out the wardrobes in the bathroom, or the bedroom, I mean, because this one is huge. This is twice the size of the tiny ones that were in there, even added together. So I was like, that's stupid. We don't even get dressed in there because you can't get around the bed. So we just put our clothes in here anyway. So I was like, that's dumb. Let's just use this one and remove the other ones. The other one can be for shoes. And then we fold clothes and put them up there. So anyway, but speaking of clothes, a big thing for us, we're on the road for a super long time. And you also have accidents, you get dirty, something happens, you spill something. So this one in this little 27 footer, squeakiest hinge in the world, has a washer dryer hidden back here. So it doesn't come with that, but it comes with the hookups up there for it. And I was like, holy crap, you can get a full washer and dryer at home in here in a 27-foot space. I love it. And then I installed this. This was not here. I just bought a pantry from either Lowe's or Home Depot. I actually installed it upside down, and I did that for 2 reasons. One, I screwed it up. I built it. I'll show you why I couldn't turn it right side up. I had to cut a hole in it, and I cut the hole and I already messed it up, and I wasn't paying attention when I cut the hole in the back. So I installed it upside down. But this worked out perfect because if you know anything about RVing, if I were to put, this is fine because it's really lightweight and this just moves around when we drive. But up here, it gave me a cubby so I can put stuff and it doesn't move while we drive. So I was like, actually, that's an ingenious feature. Usually I have a bag of stuff up there. So in here we keep the coffee maker, and we have an ice maker and other stuff. And then obviously all of our food and cleaning supplies. So this worked out super well. And see, here is where I cut the hole. It's the plumbing back there and the electrical for the washer and dryer, the drain. So I had to cut that hole, but you can't even tell when you're just standing here. And then we bolted the whole thing into place super well. It's bolted at the back. There's all kinds of little things in here holding it in place, and it works really good. So that was my first DIY in here, which was terrifying, but little secret thing back there. So that was the other important thing for us, was to be able to do laundry while we're on the road for 2 weeks, because that's a long time to lug around a lot of dirty laundry. And then because we have the ability to do laundry, I don't have to pack as much stuff. Also meaning we don't need those extra dumb wardrobes. We usually both bring 5 shirts, 2 bottoms a person, a couple pairs of shoes, lots of socks and underwear, and you're good to go. We just went out of town for a funeral, so I would have had, long story short, I forgot all of my clothes at home. We were packing, and I literally forgot all of my clothes at home, because when you're packing the RV, it's unpacked right now, because when we put it into storage, I take everything out. I strip everything except the dishes, but I strip everything out of here, all the electronics. You don't want something exploding or like a battery or whatever, cleaning chemicals, stuff like that, when you're out of it. And I take all the textiles out because, again, if you know anything about RVing, sometimes when they're in storage, you might get like a mouse or something. It's rare if you clean, but you might get something and then they'll like eat your towels or like nest in your stuff. So I take, again, everything out that I can. So anyway, that being said, it's all empty and unpacked right now. That's why it looks the way it does. And then obviously I'm doing construction, but, kind of lost my train of thought there why I was bringing that point up. Probably doesn't matter. But anyway, that's why it looks the way that it looks. But when you're packing your RV to leave, that's the point I was making, there's nothing in it. So I have totes inside the house that I bring out here and I put everything back, you know, in its place. All the bathroom stuff, all the kitchen stuff. And when I was doing that, y'all, I had just washed all of my laundry and I hung it in the laundry room on hangers. We have those special, really thin hangers that are velvety that stuff doesn't fall off of for the RV only. I hung it all up. I hung it in the laundry room and my husband was doing, you know, look, I mean, not just a husband thing, but like, ladies, you probably know somebody is always rushing you out of the house, right? Somebody is like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. I don't like to do stuff fast because then I make mistakes. And my husband was like, we gotta go, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Y'all, I literally forgot every single piece of clothing. Every single piece of clothing except for what was on my back. So I left the house. We had a 9-hour day that day to drive. I'm wearing like ratty leggings, flip-flops. I had all my shoes in here. I stuck all my shoes in that corner. And we were leaving for a funeral and we had a fancy dinner thing to go to as well when we were in town. So we had events, right? I had my funeral dress. I had my fancy dress for the event. I had all of my shoes for said events over here in the corner all lined up. But I left all of the clothing hanging in the laundry room. And we got all the way to New Mexico, pulled in the middle of the night, and I was like, and my husband goes, what? And I said, I forgot all my clothes. And I didn't even think about it. So I'm wearing a ratty hoodie, ratty leggings, a tank top. I didn't even have a bra on, y'all. I had a built-in sports bra tank top, okay? Because we're on the road. Like, I'm not being fancy. I was so devastated. And like, yeah, I know you can buy more clothes, but for y'all that don't know, I'm 5'11". I have a lot of leg. I have kind of an awkward body. Stuff doesn't fit me a lot. I have a really hard time shopping, like a really hard time. And so I was devastated. I was like, where am I going to find clothes in the middle of New Mexico, like in this small city? What am I going to do? I did end up finding some clothes. And then the funnier story to that is we're at this funeral, which was really hard for a lot of us because it was a sudden situation. It wasn't a good situation. It's never good to be at a funeral, but this was really not great. And I told my husband, I forgot my clothes. He told my father-in-law. My father-in-law then turned around and told somebody else, who then told somebody else. So everybody at this funeral, even people I didn't know, they were like, oh, hi, I bet you that's a new dress because I heard you forgot all your clothes. And at the time, like, I kind of probably needed those laughs. But people kept saying, oh, you look so pretty in your new dress. I heard what happened. Like, so many people kept saying it to me and I was like kind of mortified, but it was pretty funny. So anyway, just another little like RV thing for you, little mistakes, little things, you just never know. So anyway, just another little whatever about RV stuff. Krista said, so handy. I wouldn't have thought to do all those mods myself. Yeah, Krista, I got handy because you guys have probably heard this TikTok audio or whatever before, but it really is true for some of us. I was really born with that, like, I think I can do it at least halfway decently gene. Like, I see a project and I'm just like, I could probably do that. Even if it sucks, then I'll just hire someone to fix it. Which has not really happened. One time I accidentally shot a nail through a pipe in a house that we were renovating and we had to have a plumber come and fix that. But, that was really the only mishap I've had. I've done pretty well. And so it's like, I think I can do tile work, and I actually am really good at tile. So I end up tiling in every freaking house we buy, either backsplash or the floor. I tiled, this is the front of my little house right here. I didn't do anything out here, but in the backyard, I ended up tiling my back patio to make it prettier because the cement was really horrible and stained and awful, and it looks really cute, and I'm happy about it. But I am impatient, and I'm also not cheap, because I definitely value skilled work. I will hire people for things that are way above my pay grade. And I've done tile so many years now. I've been, oh gosh, my first tile job, I was doing tile with my parents. My parents were like DIY rehab people. So, I've been doing it since I was a kid, like demolition and basic stuff. My parents were like, here, let me teach you. And so that's kind of where I got it from. So stuff like this, not a huge deal to me. Upcycling is kind of hard because you sort of only get one chance, right? You just, you either do it and it works, or then you have to find another plan. So I'm really happy. I literally did not buy a stitch of material. I did have to buy a new nail gun, this one actually, because I didn't have a staple gun, excuse me. I didn't have the right staple gun that I needed. So I got to buy new tools, which is always fun, to basically just get this all back together. But, it worked out pretty well, I think. And once the trim's all up there, you won't see it. Everything, I think I already said this earlier, but everything in the RV is crooked, even when you buy it from the manufacturer. Like, this is their work. That's just normal. The dirt and the scratches, the messed up job up there, the stuff that's sticking out, the ugly staples, like there's an exposed staple. You just don't look too hard. You just don't look too hard, and then it's fine. So, anyway, yeah, I think, I could do that. I could put my mind to that and do it. It kind of gets me into a lot of situations, but I always get out of them. And then the other thing is I'm impatient. So like, if I want it done, I just want to pick up a brush and get it done. I'm going to pick up a hammer and I'm going to knock it out. And these stupid wardrobes that were here have been bothering us since last year when we bought this thing. Every time we sleep in it, like you can see, it literally was as wide and came all the way down, and it came down to the top of those outlets. So like, if you look even at the bed, you're laying in the bed right next to this pointy corner. And I can't tell you guys how many times I hit myself on that thing sleeping. And we both hated it. So I was like, screw it. I'm getting rid of it. So anyway, did that. And I think we're going to be happier for it, but we'll see. So anyway, yes. Gypsy said, use that frosted contact paper on the kitchen window. So this window is really dirty and you can't really see it, but that's my front door, and it came with glass in it. It's better to focus. It came with glass in the front door, and the front door, it's completely clear. Like, who wants that on their front door? So I actually have this spray that you spray onto the thing, and it's permanent and it frosts. And so you can see light through it, and you could see if somebody was standing here, but you couldn't see their features from the inside. So I can see, but people cannot see into the house. So I actually really love that contact spray. The problem is, if I want to look out those windows, I can't see anything. I can only see a shadow. Or like if you were wearing a red shirt, I could maybe see your red shirt on like a body, but I couldn't see like directly. So the only reason I don't want to put any kind of film on this is because, I might want to like see out, I don't really often, but I might want to. So I'm thinking, and the reason they put these metal ones here is because they're more fire retardant. Like, you don't want to put a curtain there, right? Because it's right next to the stove. So I don't want to do a curtain. I don't think. If I cook, I would just have to, sweep it over to the side. That would be the deal with it. And I had originally thought about doing a curtain that I was actually going to sew. I have the material in the house and it was going to be really cute. But then I thought, oh my gosh, as you drive down the road, it's going to jump everywhere and scratch everything, like the rings on the curtain rod. It's going to be a mess. So these, you can see, we don't ever secure it really, but there's a little thing here to secure this down so it doesn't flop everywhere. Usually what we do is we just pull it up when we drive, so I don't have to worry about it. So I don't know if I really want to frost it, because then I can't ever see out again, like even with a film, you can't see out. So I love the idea, but I'm afraid, this is my only like window on this side unless I go over there. And then we do have, let me close this. So this is the door, and we put this shade in it, and you can move the shade up and down, but we mostly just leave it down because in order to move it, I have to pop this off, which isn't hard. You just do that, and then I have to do this, but then I have to go outside because see, I can't, you gotta like reach through the hole, and then like it's kind of stuck down at this angle, so I can't really pull it. It's just a big pain. So we always leave it down. And I'm just thinking, I literally, sorry for the noise. Open that. I literally won't have a window on this side if I were to make that like, you know, permanently filmed or blocked off or whatever. So that's the problem here. Anyway, Gypsy said, love the towel. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, they're really popular. At some point I might throw that pattern up somewhere just for free, or, you know, maybe very slightly cheap, you know, whatever. Because it's not a hard project, but man, they were such good sellers. And I just don't really do much embroidery as much as I want to anymore. Krista said, for the peel and stick tile, it can look beautiful. Make sure you follow the directions for overlapping the squares as far as which direction to apply them. Yeah, so I bought these because there's another brand out there that has this square right here is filled in and it says like overlap here. The problem is when you overlap it, you can see a seam right here. People were complaining about that. There'd be like a seam in the light. So these ones don't have that. And they seem to be perfectly symmetrical both ways. And this is thinner right here than right here. So I think when you overlap it, like it should be okay. Like, see, it looks pretty seamless and I don't even have it lined up nice. But from the front, like, it looks pretty good. So I'm hoping these, you know, will be good. And then I bought this type. There's a thicker type that, like, see, this one is like flexible. Like, it's kind of like a foam, but it feels like plastic on the front. And I bought these because, again, nothing in an RV is level, and when you drive down the road, everything flexes, and so I want these to be able to like flex if things need to move. So and then, you know what I mean, like it would just be you know, up there, and I don't have to worry about it popping off. But for your home, they make a type that literally looks more like it's like real tile, but they're really, really thin and they're rigid. They're hard. And it has sticker on the back, and you could peel and stick that. And if I were doing it in my home, I mean, I'd probably use tile because I do tile. But if you don't want a tile or you can't tile, then, you know, you're probably good to go. Jennifer Thompson asked where I was traveling to. So again, when this is published, you know, you can rewatch back, but, if you're still on, Jennifer, or anybody else who wants to know, I talked about this in my Facebook group. I am going to Arizona to have a bunch of pretty extensive dental work done. And I will be staying there with my in-laws on their property. They have a larger property. And so they also have an RV. They have one of the big like bus style ones, but they have all the hookups, just like an RV park would, only, you know, it's at their house. And so I can park this here. I can, you know, be in a safe place. Obviously, where I'm going to be, you know, probably medicated at some points to try to rest up and deal with all the stuff they're doing. So I will probably be right there in that bed sleeping. But when I'm not, the hope is while I'm staying there, like I'll have a procedure done and then I will rest up and heal for a few days, have a procedure done. You know, I have a few things I need to do and we don't really know how long they're going to take. So that's why we decided to bring this out. That way I can have, you know, my own space. I don't have to disrupt my in-laws I might be there for up to 8 weeks, and I don't want to have to disrupt them. You know, that's a long time to have a house guest. So with this, I'll just be on the property, but I have my own vehicle because we're obviously towing out with the truck. I have my own space. I will see them often, I'm sure, but you know, I'm not going to want to eat dinner probably with somebody every night, especially when I've just had a whole day of dental work, and I probably won't be able to do anything but eat a smoothie or soup. So I am probably just going to, you know, park it in my PJs in the chair and have whatever I can kind of eat, you know, yogurt for dinner or whatever. And then, you know, go back and do it the next day or whenever the next appointment is. So that's why I was talking about this plan. This is a horrible setup for eating, frankly. It's just not a good setup, but it's also a horrible setup for sewing. And so I'm going to build in a nice bench here with storage, and then I will redo this table. That's my next project. And I'm pulling all that out because it's not good for all the reasons I explained at the beginning of this video. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can talk and if I'm not all medicated, I will be sitting right there doing some live videos with you guys. I will publish a list of the bag kits that I'm bringing. So it's like, oh, today I'm going to make, you know, this pouch or this bag. Let's make one together. And we'll just do some live sew-alongs and we'll hang out. And so that'll give me something to do while I'm by myself, because my husband's not going to stay. He's going to come back here and run the website and take care of our animals. And obviously he has to work. So all that's, you know, going on in the background. It's been, yeah. And I leave in 15 days. So that's why I'm like, I want to get this done because I'll be living in it for weeks. And I want it to be as nice as possible. I really don't need to do this. I just saw somebody else do it on their RV and I went, oh, that'll look so good. Cause like, you can't really see it, but there's a bunch of little stickers and things like sticking out on this that just don't look good. And I'm like, oh, I could make that better. I know I can make it better. So anyway, I will probably post a few more videos about this. I think I'll separate them, you know, off, and I'll try to put in the title for those of you who are not here for this content. The sewing channel, it's still going to be a sewing channel. I still do all those things, but just this is why there hasn't been a lot of sewing content, because it's construction zone. So anyway, progress, I'm sure I will show you guys. I'm hoping that it looks really nice and clean, and for anybody who's interested, and if not, well, okay. It's okay. You don't have to be interested. I'm only interested in it because it's, you know, mine, I guess, right? My life. So anywho, I guess have a good day, and I will get on to my projects, and yeah, hopefully I'll be updating you guys about this soon and showing you this whole setup with a nice sewing machine sunken into the bench over there. I'm pretty excited about that. I hope it works out. I need to buy those plans off Etsy and get to cutting, get to building it in. And my goal was to finish those first. So I just need to get it buttoned back up today, actually. And then fill all the holes in the walls in there that I made by taking the wardrobes down. I'm going to paint this wall white. Wallpaper's going up on that back wall. All the other walls are going to get painted white. And then I'm hoping it's going to be really fresh and nice in there. Because I don't know if you can tell, but from back here, again, that texture, it's pretty texture. Like here it is up close. But in a very small space, it can be a little overwhelming. Like it's kind of a lot. So in that teeny little bedroom where you're just like crammed in there, it's a lot. So I'm hopeful that I can make it a little fresher, a little cleaner. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I will update you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye.